Hello, everyone. This is Off the Top Podcast. So, we're a brand new podcast, and I think we should get started with a little introduction just to get everyone start knowing us and so you can kind of get used to what this podcast is about. So, my name is Kevin, and here's my co host.
I'm Brandon, and the goal of our podcast is just to kind of get our voices out there and kind of explain some of our theories and our interests. And we really, really think we have something to say, and we think it'd be awesome if you could hear it.
Yeah, so like Brandon said, this is pretty much an outlet for our ideas that we talk about in our real life and that we just kind of want to get out there because we feel like a lot of people can relate to these, and we also feel like this is kind of helpful to people that are listening to this podcast. So let's just get started with a little introduction here. So you already know this is Kevin and Brandon. So we're gonna kind of stick to a few topics in our podcast. So we're thinking mainly we want to do life morals is a big topic that we would like to talk about. Just improving your life in general, and also ethics kind of ties into that. Just things we see every day that we just kind of want an outlet to talk about. We're also going to be talking about something we're very interested in is conspiracies, other wild theories that are just really cool and interesting to us.
We're also going to be talking about like sports, things going on like in the world right now, current events, how we feel about them, how we think people should start looking at them as, and just talk about like our own lives and our own situational experiences. And also like we're very, very interested in exercise and keeping up a good health regimen. So yeah, we just wanted to kind of help out in that way.
Yeah, so I personally have been very interested in exercise and health, and I feel like I have a lot that people can learn that I've taken from other people, and I feel like this podcast would be really cool just outlet to talk about that.
So what we want to kind of do is kind of split these into a couple days a week. So we'll probably be around like 3 to 4 days a week. We'll be posting something. So with our schedule, we want to like kind of do one a day. So we want to focus one day on like serious stuff like current events, life, ethics, stuff like that. And then another day on like conspiracies, other theories. Then another day on exercise, health, sports.
Yeah, just things that we in our own lives find interesting that we want to talk about. So like Brandon said, we're gonna be kind of splitting up our schedule. So every single day, we're gonna try and have a not every single day, but every single podcast, we're gonna try and switch up what we're talking about. So Monday could be talking about sports, what's happening right now in many different sports. I know Brandon's really big into the NBA, and I myself am more into football, NFL, college football. Another day could be just what we like to talk about. Also, is like life experiences and kind of like real talk. So if there's people like our audience listening to us that have situations or questions about their life, we can provide help for that, and that's just we would like to be helpful to our audience as well.
Also, if you want to just tell us your stories, we'd love to tell them to the world too. We really could use them to relate to others, and I feel like if you just tell that out loud, it would help you feel better, and it could help others feel better too because they know they're not alone in whatever they're doing.
Yeah, and I feel like we can probably relate to most of our audience if you guys have some stories. So we might be able to tell you if we went through a similar situation, how we can relate to that, and just advice in general for you. So before we get started as well, we're going to shout out our Twitter. So we have a Twitter called Off the Top Podcast, which is at Off the Top 7. If you guys want to follow that, keep updated with when we're going to be going live, when a new episode comes out, or just pitch us some ideas you guys want to hear about. We're here to talk about whatever you guys want. So as we're kind of sticking to our main topics here, but anything and anyone else is interested in, feel free to just hit us up and let us know.
So what we kind of want to start off with is a topic that I I really learned a lot about. I went to a place called PGC. It's a Point Guard College. It's a basketball camp. I played a lot of basketball in high school. Junior and senior year, I was on the varsity team, and really this camp helped me to get there. It was a lot of hard work. It was a lot of learning new communication skills, leadership skills. It was great stuff. Yeah, it was just awesome to learn.
Yeah, so we both can kind of relate to just putting in hard work and having a good work ethic. And Brandon says at this PGC, they really talk a lot about improving not only in the sport of basketball, but a lot outside of that. So in your daily life, how to just improve yourself as a person. And from what I understand, they told you a lot about like the 1% rule or whatever, if you want to expand on that.
Yeah, so they called it golden nuggets actually. So it's just the 1% of every day. At a point, you're just not gonna be getting greatly, like, significantly better. So what you need to do is just pick up 1% a day, and just keep on adding those to yourself, just to make yourself better. And really, what it kind of starts with is finding your passion in life. You need to find something that you're actually interested in, because if you're not going to be interested in what you do, you're just not going to give it your full effort. And you need to give it your full effort if you want to go anywhere in life.
Yeah, I believe personally as well that, a good work ethic will bring you really far in life, No matter what you're doing in life, even if it's just some crappy job you really hate, if you start putting in as much effort and the best work ethic possible for that, even if you hate it, that's going to improve you as a person drastically. You're going to develop that work ethic, and whatever you do later in life, that's going to help you out. Having a good work ethic, good solid work ethic.
Yeah, so what it kind of boils down to is just determination and confidence. You need to have a hard work ethic. You need to be able to work hard whenever, like 100% of the time. You can't just slack off. It just leads to like non-precise things that you do. You need to be precise with everything you do so you can be precise in the times that are hardest. So with confidence, it kind of comes from two things. They told me this at PGC. They told me that it comes from what you think about during the day, so how you lead up to what you do. Everything you do, just kind of, you figure it out in your mind before you do it. So if you think about succeeding in doing that, then you're obviously going to do better. And also, you need to practice. Like, whatever you do, you need to know that you have the skill to be able to do it, to get the job done.
Yeah, practice is a big part of that as well. If you put practice and hard work into anything, there's no doubt you're going to improve on that.
So, a great thing to remember is to have selective amnesia. Selective amnesia is just what you choose to focus on during the day and what you forget. That's the biggest part. You need to be able to forget the disappointments, the failures, just learn from them and move on. That's really what you need to do.
Yeah, I see a lot of people making the mistake of dwelling on failures that they have or disappointments just in general, So if you're stuck wasting time thinking about that one time you really messed up or that one time you really let people down, you're going nowhere from that, If you instead focus that energy that you're focusing, being depressed about that or being regretful about that into progressively moving forward, that's just an amazing improvement,
So one thing that you have to think about, though, with work ethic is how much of your time is actually spent studying or training, because that's what improves you. That's how you get better. And if like, say you go to the library and you spend like 4 hours there, like, actually the serious amount of time that most people will put in to studying will be about like 15 minutes because of just how much they look at their phone, talk to their work partners, their group.
Yeah, you think about that. You're not spending the whole 4 hours there. You're not sitting there the whole time working hard. Think about how many times you go on your phone, you're talking to people, you're just really not paying attention. And honestly, it might even be like less than 15 minutes if you think about it, because so that 15 minutes a day of serious hard work, that's pretty much a waste of your time going for 4 hours if all you're getting out of that is 15 minutes. And if you think about it too, even if you're studying, like how much of that time are you really putting 100% of your effort in, really trying to improve in whatever field it is? It doesn't even have to be at the library. That's just a certain example, you know?
It just comes back to determination and how hard you want to work at what you do. And just you need to believe that you're 100% in 100% of the time, or else you just won't care as much about what you're doing.
Also, if you're passionate about what you're learning or what you're doing, especially if it's a sport like basketball or football, that passion is going to make you work so much harder. And if you're doing something that you're really not interested in and you're kind of forcing yourself to do, you're not going to get out what you want out of that for the time that you're putting in. You're just wasting time, essentially, you know?
So this all kind of leads to like how you approach things. So your approach is your attitude that you bring to what you do. So just you have to allow yourself to be able to have an identity before anything else. What I mean by that is there's two ways that you can go about things. You can either have feelings about something, and those feelings lead to your actions, and then those actions lead to your identity, how people see you as, how you see yourself. So what you want to do is actually you want to choose your identity before you even start something. That way your identity can lead to your actions, and your actions will lead to your feelings of success and happiness.
Yeah, it's really important that you develop an identity for yourself as early on as you can, honestly, because if you're walking around goalless, you really don't know, you're really not, I wouldn't want to say self-actualized, but you're not really in tune with what you want, or even honestly, like what you're doing, you know? That's just going to be a hindrance to like your goals in general, you know? You really got to start with yourself before you start diving deep into something else.
So what you really, really need to focus on is becoming what I like to call being noble-minded. So that just means you're not focused on petty problems. Just like when you walk into the library to study and you realize that the book that you have isn't there. What you don't think about, you're just like, oh man, I missed my chance. I can't study.
Yeah, that's a waste of time.
You can just really, like, you have like computers. You can look up what you need to find, and it's just so easy. Like, you have all this resource to your benefit, and just sometimes people don't realize how to use it.
If you think about, too, how much time a day, this just really applies to anyone, you know? How much time a day are you spending wasting on just thinking about a petty problem that really you don't need to be dwelling over? That time, if you think about that time could be going to something you really are interested in or something you're trying to put your time and effort into. So, yeah, really petty problems are something that you don't want to spend that mental effort over when you really can spend that doing something you're interested in.
So what I like to think of it as is, are you really going to let 30 seconds ruin your day? Just think about it for a second. There's 86,400 seconds in one day. Are you seriously going to let 30 of those ruin the rest? That's an insane amount of time that you could use to get better. You could make yourself better.
And realistically, too, I mean, 30 seconds is kind of generous for most people, like even myself included. You know, just spending time on stuff that doesn't even need to have thought put into it, you know? Like he said, going to the library, your book's not there. That's not something you need to sit there and get all, like, that shouldn't put you in a bad mood for the rest of the day. That shouldn't affect the rest of your day. That's just something so small that you should just be able to go, okay, yeah, I'll go on the computer. I'll go do something else. Put that into something else.
And for all those people who play some type of sport, whether it be basketball, football, golf, tennis, baseball. It doesn't matter. Like one bad play, like an error in baseball, drop ball in football, turnover in basketball. You need to realize that you can overcome that with your mind. It's all about mental toughness.
Yeah, you see all these athletes even at the college level, NFL level, when they so let's just say Tom Brady throws an interception, you don't see him sitting there dwelling over it, getting extremely just, wow, I can't believe I did that. The whole rest of the game is going to be ruined for him. People at that top level and people that are just honestly have developed themselves more, they're not going to be dwelling over stuff like that, you know? They realize that, oh, I made a mistake. I realize that. But what can you do? Do you want to sit there and regret it and think back and dwell on it? Or should you spend that time moving forward and trying to improve, trying to get better? You know, in a football game, throwing an interception, that's not going to end your game, you know? Think about if you throw an interception in the first quarter and you let that affect you the whole rest of the game. That entire game, like the quarterback is like the most important position on the field. You can't just have him out of the game because of some petty problem, you know? That time could be spent trying to win the game. That's just an example, but, you know.
Another one is like all these greats in basketball, like LeBron James. You will never ever see him get upset to where he won't be able to play. That man is always working as hard as he possibly can, and it shows. Like he's literally probably the greatest player to ever touch a basketball, and it's just insane how much he can just overcome, how much he has overcome. He grew up in a terrible neighborhood. He came from Akron, Ohio, in its bad days, and he just rose up above it all. And he didn't even go to college to play basketball. He went straight to the NBA just because of his mental fortitude and his mental toughness.
Yeah, and you might think that these people that are at the top, I know we're giving examples like LeBron James and Tom Brady, but anyone that's at the top in what they're doing, it doesn't matter if you're a businessman, it doesn't matter if you're an entrepreneur or even an athlete like we were talking about. Those people, you think they're not flawless. That's a big misconception. You know, everyone makes mistakes. Like there's so many examples just in life where you think that you make a mistake that'll just, wow, that's the worst mistake of my life. I'll never get over that. And the difference between someone that's at the top level and someone that's really not, they are able to overcome stuff like that. They don't spend their time regretting decisions they've made. Instead, they try and improve on what they can do and try to move past that instead of dwelling on it.
So one last kind of thought that we want to leave with you is just living a better life in general. Just if you live a better life, you're able to put in 100%. If you're not living the life that you want, then you're not going to be putting in the full amount that you could be. Mm-hmm. So I would just say practice gratitude. Just have perspective on what's going around you, and just like the terrible situations that happen every day, and how lucky you are just to be where you are.
Yeah, you really like a lot of people take it for granted that their lives in general, that you know, you're lucky to be born. Like a lot of people are lucky to be born where they are, you know. A lot of people aren't fortunate enough to have circumstances like that. So I mean, I know a lot of people take it for granted, but it really is good to practice gratitude just for everything you've got and things you've accomplished in your life, you know. Don't always be focusing on the negatives, you know.
So I actually have a quote here that really has helped me in my life. Just know that, like, if we magnify our accomplishments as much as our disappointments and failures, we would be living such a better life. If we could see our accomplishments, we just expect so much from ourselves. You need to see each little thing that you do as great. You need to know that all the things that you do lead up to something. Mm-hmm. They're not all worthless. Everything is worth something to you.
Yeah, that kind of even ties into the golden nugget or the 1% rule, where every little action you're doing, if you're putting the effort in, nothing really you're doing is just a waste of time, and nothing really is worthless. Even if you see it as not important, I mean, it's not like what you're doing most of your day is worthless. Even if you're not, let's say the time you're spent you're an athlete, the time you're not spending in the gym it's not a waste of your time, you know. It's not like it's just worthless wait, like, you know what I mean? As long as you're putting effort into your daily life, you know, it's really not just worthless time.
And going back to just living a better life in general, another thing that you have to do is just ask yourself, who do you surround yourself with every day? Who are you around? And do they make you better? Those are two questions that are absolutely fantastic for your life. Just surround yourself with people who have goals and know how to improve their own lives, and you can see them do that and learn how to improve your own.
Yeah, you know, you don't want to be surrounding yourself with people, especially not with people who are leaving a negative impact on you. That's really a bad situation to be in. You want to be with people that have their own goals, that have their own life that they're living, you know. And if you surround yourself with successful people and people that are actively improving their life, your life is going to get better as well. They're going to rub off on you. If you surround yourself with someone that is, let's say, you want to be an entrepreneur and you're surrounding yourself with people who really know what they're doing, they're going to rub off on you. You're going to learn from them, you know. Friends, you shouldn't just be hanging out with people just to hang out with them, especially if they're leaving a negative impact on your life. You really want people that are all constantly improving your life, and that, you know, they really want the best for themselves, and also they care about you as well.
Don't misunderstand anything. Just because they don't improve your life 24/7 doesn't mean that they shouldn't be a part of it. If they love and care about you, obviously that's the support that you're going to need for some point in your life. It's not just about goals and stuff. It's about caring and love and support and everything put together in one. You just have to look for somebody who has it all for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, do you want to touch on that some more, or do you want to kind of wrap it up here?
Well, just I think that's about it.
Yeah. So, on a final note here, so Off the Top Podcast, you can follow us on our social media at, right now we only have Twitter and YouTube, so our YouTube is Off the Top Podcast. You can just look us up, you'll find us in the search bar. Twitter, again, is Off the Top Podcast, at Off the Top 7. We're going to be bringing a lot more content to you guys. This is just kind of, this is something we've been wanting to talk about, and we thought it would be a good starting episode of our podcast. Eventually, we're going to be doing a lot more stuff. Like, something I'm interested in, as well as Brandon, is we both are really interested in music. So we were thinking we could do some album reviews, just maybe even like top 10 our favorite albums, so you guys can get to know us more, as well as maybe connect with our music tastes. And yeah, if you guys follow us on our Twitter or YouTube, feel free to comment, leave as much feedback as you guys want. We're open to criticism. This is our first podcast ever, so we really are looking for some feedback. And thank you for listening.
All right. Thank you.